everybody, to the Polarized Podcast. Welcome back. If you are a fan of us, thank you. If you don't know this podcast, because everybody's first time is always the time that we're recording, we're a podcast about movies, polarizing movies in particular. On this podcast, we talk about movies that have different scores on Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes critics love it, sometimes audiences hate it, or vice versa. Those are the movies that we talk about. Today, we are talking about Walk Hard, the 2007 comedy musical starring John C. Reilly. The score is 75% critics and 57% audience. Interesting that is the case. But we're going to get into it, and I really want to get into it. Yeah, I'm buzzing with excitement. So let's get right into it. I would like to first introduce my co-host. Sometimes we call him the forever guest, Mr. James Lindsay. Hey, how's it going?
Well, hello. Happy to be back. I feel so special being the guy. It really just makes me feel special when you call me the guest every week. I almost forget that that's my title. And then it does make me feel like I'm a special little man
you're a special little man
on a show that I just wandered on, and you
were just hanging outside my window, like nose on the glass, and I'm like, hey, is there a little special guest out here? Get on in here.
Special forever guest? Don't mind if I do.
Ooh, saunter on in here.
Hello.
or whatever.
What was that?
No, what he does in this movie, what Dewey does in this movie.
He does like a horse noise. And then she loves it. She loves it.
She is so wed because of his horse stomping.
Yes. Animalistic. He walks so hard.
He walks the hardest, any man has ever walked.
He's a hard walker.
So
thanks for having me, Brandon.
You're good, right? You're giddy. Okay.
Primo. I'm primo. I happy to be here. This is a special app, and this is a special movie, and yes, I'm a special man.
It is.
I'm a special guest.
Wow. You nailed that. Yeah. Okay, great.
Well, I guess there's somebody else here too that's might be a little bit more special, but I'm still pretty cool too. I guess we can move on to him.
I think we got a very cool person as well for an incredibly cool episode. I can already tell this is going to be very silly. We're it's an exciting thing that we're about to get into. And to help us do that is a longtime friend, which we would have in no other way for this movie. You know him from many great episodes like Hook. I mean, definitely go listen to that episode. It's the best. We call him Blarge, and some people call him Corey, but either way, he's here. Hey.
Blargy. Oh.
Hey, hello. How's it going?
Yes, hello. Welcome back.
What an intro. My God.
Oh, welcome, friend.
Thank you.
Friend.
It is a group of hard
good
walkers.
To be back.
Yeah, it's a Tres Amigos Walkers.
Yeah, that's what we've always called ourselves. Let's keep it going.
Keep it hard, yeah.
Keep it hard, baby.
Do you like the what do you think of the Walk the Line movie, Corey? Were you a fan of like that one when that came out? Like the namesake, I guess, for this parody satire movie.
Yeah. I was a fan.
Or a Johnny Cash fan for that matter.
Yeah, so I don't think I ever was like super, super into Johnny Cash, but that movie was well done, in my opinion, when it came out, and kind of got me into him for a brief period. But it didn't stick really. But and I haven't seen that one in a while.
Me neither.
But yeah, it was. I feel like that's almost kind of like a not stereotypical, but like kind of your standard biopic, and but just really well done. But that's kind of like what the other ones aim for almost. It was great to send it up because that's kind of like the gold standard, I would say.
Definitely like the closest to this time, and definitely like pulls maybe the most from, but also another movie that we watched recently with a good buddy of yours and ours now. He's our friend too, which is good. We're all a bunch of hard walkers all together. We're another one to the hard walker crew. What was the crew we just came up with? Whatever. But we watched
Amigos Walkers.
Tres Amigos Walkers.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's a double check.
I can't believe you forgot.
I'm
It's
sorry.
been that way
I'm
since,
sorry.
Since childhood. Come on.
Guilty as charged.
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
Your Honor. Weston watched The Doors with us, and that was the first time I'd seen that one, and this was all I could think of was this movie. That
Really?
I still enjoyed myself, and I ended up giving it a good score. Enjoyed that movie despite all the stereotypes that it falls into, along with Walk the Line. But damn it,
this is the best musician biopic you've ever seen. Because that's understandable.
The Dewey Cox story, sure, yeah,
right.
And then there's something like what's the Marky Mark one, the Rockstar one? Is it just called Rockstar?
It's called Rockstar. Yeah.
That movie is hilarious, and it's not trying to be funny, but god damn it, it's so fucking funny. Movie. It's so bad, and it's and it does all those things in the same, but it's on the level of like Zoolander or something. And it's like, does it know what it's doing? Because the guy acts like Derek Zoolander.
Have you guys seen the it's a little more recent, like in the past maybe 5 years, but it's Jack Black, and he's like the polka guy.
The polka king.
Yeah. That shit is so fucking weird, but I remember like cracking up at that one.
I feel like I watch it and I forget all about it, but I do. I recall what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He has the same kind of like mustache and look as like that Bernie movie. I feel like
that's the thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Those seem so similar, but I'm sure they're not. I haven't seen the Polka King.
Yeah, the Polka King was, and it was based on a real guy. I'm pretty sure. So. Yeah, it wasn't just like a spoof or like a goofy thing, but it was fucking hilarious.
That's good, because Bernie you think is going to be funny, but it ends up being more dark than it is a dark comedy, I guess. And I think it's based on a real guy too.
Yeah,
might be.
Yeah, but different movies.
It's a pretty good movie.
Those are different movies for sure.
These are all different movies. The ones we're discussing are all different.
He's so impish and whimsical, though.
That's why they have different names, is because they're all different movies.
Damn,
well, we should get to the bottom of this.
That's a fun fact for.
Okay. That's what we're gonna go down. Okay.
Yeah.
So there different movies.
But if there's movies with the same name, can they be still different movies?
Different?
As a matter of fact, yes. As long as they're not the same movie, they are different movies.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got
it. That's my understanding.
Even if you were just to start it immediately after the other one, or in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'd have to check on that.
If you start one and then you finish with the other.
What if you started?
You're getting into some gray area now.
Okay. I'm being a little stinker. I'm being devil's advocate.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Another excellent movie, of course.
Which is different.
Okay.
It's kind of the cornerstone of your guys' whole podcast.
I'm seeing Oppenheimer.
That there are different movies. Each episode, I think, of your show has a different one.
Well, now that you put it like that, that's something I can get my brain around. If you make it about me, then I can.
Exactly. So think about like every episode you guys have ever done, different movie.
Yeah. Whoa. Mind blown.
Yeah.
That's probably why we didn't just like hit record and never turn it off.
Right. Remember you had like stuff to do in your lives. So yeah.
Whoa.
Maybe that'll be our next one.
Just one movie forever.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should make it
forever.
We should do a sister pod called The Movie. Just talking about the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, I know you got that direct line to Hollywood. Can you pull it up real quick?
Yeah.
Hello, Hollywood.
You got that special red phone. Thank God. Thank God. It's got that like the turnstile thing and everything. Ooh. We needed that. Yeah, those are all like the movies that this movie's
not this movie that we're talking
riffing on. Was that
not this movie that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Those are different movies.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's what we're trying to
different.
figure out here. I'm glad we started there.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't get it fully yet.
We need to start it back again.
We need to start it back.
Got it.
Roll it up.
He needs to think about his entire life.
Nice segue.
That's kind of where we're at. Yeah. I do need to think about my entire life.
I mean, so right off
kind of
the rip, the name Dewey Cox allows for an immediate joke, right? I mean, I think that's the first joke of the movie is the fact that he's called Cox.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and that's used to great effect in literally hundreds of ways, arguably thousands. I don't know. But like, it seems like Cox is used.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but
I knew it was a stretch. Okay.
There were a handful of good Cox jokes.
Reel me back in. Thanks.
I don't want to commit to thousands, but
this movie might be like 5 days long if there's thousands of lines.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking every movie that's ever been made, maybe thousands of Cox jokes. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But again, different. This is a different movie. So,
but different is okay, right?
Yeah, but different's okay.
Okay.
Different. Okay.
It's okay to be different.
Wow. Oh, yes. It's okay to be different. I
need Cox.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes. Thank you for that.
He's got to think about his entire life. And that's Walk the Line. I think he's looking at like a buzzsaw or something at Folsom Prison before the Folsom Prison show.
I almost wish I had revisited Walk the Line before I rewatched this one, because I could tell like there were moments where, not that it was scene for scene or shot for shot, but it was like, oh, this is totally referencing something that happened in that movie, but taking it way over the top. But
luckily it doesn't depend on it too much. Like, I'm absolutely really happy with that. And it's not completely scary movie. Reliant. And it ends up being more of like a Mel Brooks thing. It ends up being like a Great Spaceballs or like Young Frankenstein or whatever. It's like spoofing the genre, and it uses maybe the specific template, but it ends up being so much bigger than that and plays it straight too. Like that was a big comparison. I was thinking this time around of like, this would be, if like Mel Brooks were to do rock biopic, but it's also, it's like almost on the same level as Spinal Tap. That one just has the layer of the, documentary, mockumentary style.
Right. I loved that this one was kind of like freeform, right? Like there wasn't, it wasn't like it was really trying to say something or trying to completely spoof Walk the Line or a different movie. But it was, it was so, I know, sorry. Just took a hit off that pen. Now I'm getting deep. No, it was kind of like, I consider it like its own, God damn it.
Stop.
I was going to say,
stop. Okay. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole anymore.
All roads lead back to that truth. But I don't know. I love the movie. I'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah, we can start there. Like how classic this is, because I'm almost positive.
I am ready to give my score.
Let's do it. All three of us, I'm almost positive, saw this movie in theaters together. Like yes. I'm almost 100, positive.
100%.
Yeah. Have to. Yes, yeah. That's almost a certainty.
And we were kind of in the same area. We were going to college. I feel like at this point, right? What year was this?
Brandon said 07, but I thought
this is 07.
Oh, 07.
08. I thought it was a little later than that.
I thought so too.
I could be wrong.
Maybe we were in high school age, just like going out to R-rated movies for the first time. But I thought we had graduated.
Yeah.
Either time, it was like the perfect age for us to see this movie.
Oh, sure.
And I remember seeing Ray and Walk the Line shortly before, and those winning awards and that being a big deal. and just getting like the most I possibly could out of this movie, seeing it with your friends at that age, and just cracking up throughout the movie, which I still do to this day, being like seeing it over 10 to 20 times. I don't know.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And like, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all of us, why this movie works so well and to the age point and this coming into our lives at the perfect time is that I think all of us had probably seen a Mel Brooks movie before, had seen Airplane before, and maybe had seen some of these biopics of musicians that maybe our parents liked, you know, and we're at least familiar with the concept of that. And also too, from the get-go, all of the people in this movie, I think we all had some kind of a little bit of knew a little bit of them, you know, in some form or fashion, like Tim Meadows, for example, like to start this whole off, right?
It was like who's who of you know,
comedy,
the comedy scene of the late 2000s. Yeah,
a lot of
cameos,
SNL Lorne Michaels stuff, but it wasn't a Lorne Michaels movie. It was a Judd Apatow thing, which Judd Apatow was such hot shit at that time as well.
Irreverent comedies of our youth, right?
So irreverent.
Because we just talked yesterday, James had presented a list, a ranking of best movies about high school, and Superbad has got to be up in the top, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
And, you know, and that's, you know, that knocked up Judd Apatow. Like we all knew that name too. It's so crazy how prepped we were, or how perfect this movie seems for us in our sensibilities, you know, to have really been primed and ready for a movie like this to come out where we got so much of the humor of it.
We got,
and even to this day, it works.
We got Anchorman, PG-13. Fucking classic movie that we quoted endlessly. And then we got Talladega Nights, which was also PG-13, which was attainable and easy for us to see and still very funny. Had John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. I think Step Brothers probably came after this one because they knew what a good pair they were. But I feel like this was sandwiched between Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. But having that prime of
it's right around that.
John C. Reilly and Talladega Nights, I feel like pushing him into the center really helped a lot too, even though he was always like, oh, it's that guy from whatever we were getting into Paul Thomas Anderson movies at that. I know I was.
Nights. Yeah, me too.
Magnolia and shit. So that was so cool to just see him in a starring role and how fucking well he is and how he did in this movie and how good he is in overall at like every facet of what is required in this movie. There's a lot required of him, man. It's like a Gene Wilder level, kind of.
Yeah, dude. I mean, even if you just
that's such a great comp. Yeah,
even if you just look at kind of the arc of what he's supposed to do, it's like a man's entire life, you know. And there's the like kind of funny joke in the beginning where he's 14 years old, but he's John C. Reilly. Yeah, and it just, I mean, if you start there and go, you know, through his 70s or whatever, at the end of the movie, it's like he's so goofy and so irreverent, but also like pretty good acting chops to nail that whole life of someone, you know. Like it's an amazing role,
a fully realized character and comedic through and through. Yeah.
And that is also
and full of stereotypes. Like it's everything. Sorry.
Like that's also a good example of how sincerity is like this movie's like biggest like weapon, because we had already going into a movie like this had seen very insincere spoof and comedy movies, and comedy at this time too was also very the edginess of it, the immaturity of it was so prevalent, and the fact that there are so many ways that this movie could have just relied on, you know, this thing, right? Here's this thing, and just not really care about the movie or care about the material. Like you just get such an overwhelming sense by the people who wrote this movie, who are starring in this movie, love what they're spoofing and are really into the things that they are doing the satire of and trying to impersonate. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. And
Yeah.
If they
so
took
infectious.
It was made with love, I think.
Big time. If they took even the same cast, all the same people, and just diverted their energy towards making a drama, they could have done it, and it would have been as good, I feel like, as a lot of other rock, biopics and all of that. But and I think reading some of there was an oral history online that you can find that's pretty great. And Judd Apatow was talking about how he felt kind of sad seeing like these amazing songs and being used for comedy and fodder sometimes. Like obviously that's what they were going for, but also there's a part of him that I think was like a little sad that it was taken that way when everyone was working really hard on and putting their full selves into it. But that's exactly what's needed into
I mean, it's kind of
right.
An amazing comedy is that sincerity.
Yeah. It's kind of, this one, like for me, is kind of like elevated comedy almost, like, because it is hilarious the entire way, and it's not really trying to do anything except it's not deep or anything, but I don't know. So
it kind of is a little bit, which is
there's so many references. There's so many like great references, and just like you can tell that they did their homework, that they care about it. It's close to them, So I feel like it's not just some stupid like goofy movie. It's like I don't know.
It is.
I hold it in pretty high regard.
But even like it's catering to like
sure.
a rock historian sort of sense of like humor or whatever. Like it's even going beyond just the even like the making a movie about it, but actually the history of like having a young girlfriend and having a chimp as a pet. Like I think that was an Elvis, and obviously Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Tons of Elvis stuff. Yeah,
just pulling from a lot of the giraffe.
And the whole meditation scene where they meet with the Maharishi. That's Beatles, Beach Boys. I mean, that was their whole trip in the 60s. So it was, there was a lot of like touchstones of cultural stuff that actually happened, that they drew from. So it was interesting as well as hilarious. But first and foremost, fucking balls to the wall hilarious.
100%. And it's starting with the children and already getting into the pace at which the movie's going to be, which is going to run throughout, and something that is already makes you look at all these other movies in a funnier light too, because there is no time for any trivialities in the movie, because they got to get through they got to think about their entire life before they go on. And so every scene is important. Every single person that walks into frame has a big deal in his life.
Totally.
And they're going to talk about it like literally to your face. Just the 60s are a very important time. They're going to, all that
was so good.
The subtext is never subtext. It's always just displayed right out in front, and that humor, the minute you pick up on, is great. And I'm not, the polarization we'll get to as well, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that like watch this movie and maybe even want like a scary movie sort of thing, and maybe there's others that we're looking for a different kind of humor or something. But this whole portion with the kids is great, and playing the guitar for the guys is just classic.
Oh, so funny. And
I think that's a Ray thing. That's
it is a Ray thing, but again, comedy, it's the joke per second numbers got to be so high, because
dude,
oh my god, JPM Brandon, this one's the jokes fucking woo. blistering.
It's up there.
It's so hard. We're not going to go through this movie, minute by minute,
No,
but
just some chunks.
just to encapsulate, when we say the kids section, we're talking about
Actually,
the children's section. We're talking about so much funny things happen, so many funny things happen, and all of it culminating right into the having of the brother, and like really the the emotional thrust of the movie.
Dude, yeah.
It is, and the fact that he gets
I've been
halved
cut in half pretty bad.
I'm cutting that pretty bad.
It's a particular bad case of someone being cut in half.
Well, and
was
then they
unable
touch back
to
on it
attach
with
his top half to his bottom half. Oh,
speak English now.
Scientist. The father. Okay. The father and the
legendary
let's
character actress Margot Martindale.
And Margot Martindale, the parents, because the emotional thrust is his brother getting halved by a machete. Dad told us not to play with the machetes.
We're young. Nothing bad can happen to us today.
And then that's preceded by them doing a bunch of very dangerous things, like what they're doing metal work, and it just shows the sparks hitting the hay.
Playing chicken with
one's
a
on a horse, the other's on a tractor. They're playing chicken.
Swinging the rattlesnake around,
which when the dad at the end when he's doing his machete fight, how he does that.
He does. Well, I love the little callback at the end where he's like, when his dad halves himself, and then he's like, and then Dewey's like, "You're gonna make it. It's the 70s now. We've come a long way.
There's all types of new procedures."
Oh God.
It's like, I guess I could have done something different than spend my whole life training my mind and body to kill you in a machete fight.
I love that little subtlety, because I feel like I didn't pick up on that too much the first, as a younger guy, but that was such a thing that was glossed over even in that scene. But it's like, wow, he spent his whole entire life training not only his mind but his body for this moment, and then he fucking fucked it up.
Well, there's just
really badly.
There's almost no line in
music
this
killed
movie
his
that
mom.
isn't a joke, right? Like, to talk about, upon rewatches, you're like, oh, they said this, and you didn't catch it because it was just this funny subtext to it, like a joke on a joke. And a hat on a hat is sometimes I say, but these are fun and cool hats, so it's okay.
Oh, for sure.
There's a lot of fun outfits in general.
A lot of fun outfits in this movie, especially that scene in the end when he's wearing that turtleneck with the blue V sweater and the white pants and the white shoes. Oh man, and his hair's feathered like he's a Bridget Fonda.
The hippie point is really great when he's jumping on the trampoline, and I like his guilty as charged attire. That's kind of the, I guess what would that be? Kind of Johnny. I guess it's still Johnny Cash a little bit. Or
it was, but it was like the outlaw country kind of thing. So,
his voice really caters to the Roy Orbison thing, which I guess really comes to it in the one song of "I've got a perfect wife, is a perfect life." Which his voice just sounds so good. So it's and you're also able to take in the content of the song and the lyricism. And the editing is done in a way that it's a musical, which somehow it goes through the guise of being a rock and roll biopic, but it really ends up being almost just like a musical. And it is through the power of his singing, which can be goofy at times, and then just so sincere and beautiful when he hits those kind of higher falsetto Roy Orbison kind of notes with that song. And of course the last song ends up being very funny, but also beautiful.
Kind
of moving.
Yeah, a little bit. It is. Yeah. Well, because you just have fallen in love with Dewey Cox. You've seen
done a lot of stuff.
You've seen his entire life.
He's
such a what?
Like a Homer Simpson quality of like he just keeps fucking fucking up, you know, like he'll just get, maybe he's growing and it's like, no, he doesn't.
Oh, you're breaking up, Corey.
Oh shit. Yeah, I know. How do I feel like this happens every time.
That's okay. Maybe leave and then come back in. We'll you unfroze right there, but I'm not sure if that'll help or not.
It's a beautiful ride.
Beautiful ride. I mean, we can get a little sample of some of the tunes here, just so anybody who hasn't seen the movie in a while and wants to get a little idea of the songs. Something that's great about it, you know, just speaking of the music, is like they really recorded like full tracks, even if you only get a snippet in the movie. And
they sound great. Yeah,
there are like about 100 songs written by these two guys who like just hold themselves up in the best Western and wrote a shit ton of songs catering to like a Buddy Holly song or an Elvis song or you know, Beach Boys or Beatles, whatever. And they recorded like something around like 50 of them or whatever. But let's do this Bob Dylan one, and we'll get a little taste of because I think this is a good example of he's doing a parody of Bob Dylan. His voice ends up sounding good, but then the lyrics are fucking bananas and are silly. So it's just all those things mixing together comes from a place as well of like the songwriters being willing to make fun of themselves and take the shit out of like serious songwriting or whatever. And yeah, it's kind of from everyone involved. It's that tough.
It's a tough
job.
Yeah.
When the moon hits your eye,
mailboxes drip like
a pizza pie. We had mentioned Spinal Tap earlier. John Michael Higgins, right, is in Spinal Tap, the record producer. It's like his faith in the Jewish people was shaken because of how bad that song was. And then, not only do you have to write the greatest song ever, it's like
pressing, passing, stinging, half synthetic fabrications. That
was probably one of my favorite parts in the rewatch. I don't know if you guys am I coming in? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, that was a Bob Dylan song.
Okay. I think it's just delayed, but yeah, I fucking love that whole scene where it's got like the Billy Madison-esque kind of like I award you no points, like that whole vibe to it. But oh my god,
nothing you do right now could
so funny
could change my mind.
He goes, "What is it?" Yeah,
and then
but I just don't think it's gonna happen. Something like that.
I highly doubt it. And then you got Harold Ramis, you got Phil Rosenthal, you got Martin Starr all there as the record producers.
Martin Starr, yeah.
This is after the Craig Robinson scene as well, which is just extremely funny, and that's the kind of like Mel Brooks humor that is tough to pull off and ends up being very funny. And like where Ben Stiller kind of Tropic Thunder stuff too, just using race in your humor in a way that gets the reaction out of the people that see him singing that song, and you get the reaction of like, is he fucking doing this? And then having them be like, all right, we accept it. And then
and then they started to dance erotically.
Yeah. People come here to dance erotically.
Was very erotic.
Extremely erotic, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was pretty much fucking without taking your clothes off.
Well, it was great juxtaposing that like original little talent show thing that he did with like, you know, take my hand and his dad's going off about, you know who has hands? The devil. And he uses them for holding. But then it kind of goes quickly from that scene to, you know, that other venue where it's like, oh, this is like, you know, if only his dad could see what these people are. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then he goes to record a song and it's not working out. We get that whole part we just mentioned, and then he just gives a stern look to Chris Parnell, Matt Besser, and Tim Meadows, which band, excellent. We'll talk about them as well. Like they're such a big huge part of every
absolutely
a lot of big moments in the scene. They learned how to play music, they learned how to play all those instruments, so that's really them really playing a lot of those scenes. But I love that is such a classic scene in all of these movies, and I haven't even seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but I guess that's a big part of like Another One Bites the Dust or whatever, is where they're just like, okay, we get it now, and then all of a sudden the song just happens
like this.
And then they all start dancing in the recording studio. It's on the radio immediately while they're
in 35 minutes,
and then he walks out of the recording studio and everyone immediately rushes him with the record to sign. Everything just moves so quickly. He moves into the house with Kristen Wiig. They have two children
or whatever.
per scene that they get every time they come back to him. She's constantly downplaying him. The parents constantly don't believe him. All these things are so forced that it ends up being so hilarious because there's no reason why anyone should feel this way. It's like wrong kid died and all that stuff. But then even with Kristen Wiig, there's no reason why. No one's ever made any money off music, Dewey.
But they do that a lot. And that like they go from her. The first thing you pretty much hear her say is like, I will always support your dreams, even though I'm 12 years old or something like that. And then before 2 minutes of movie time go by and she's like, you'll never make it. And it's a funny, like the fact that they go from one extreme to the other so quickly. It's
very airplane.
It's
part of the arc in those movies. Yeah. For the first wife to go through that period of like, I never see you anymore. You don't take care of the kids. And which is the next phase. Gonna miss some births.
There was a bit of and maybe you guys figured this out back in the day, but this recent time I watched it with God, what's her name? Pam from The Office. Jenna Fisher. So her, I was almost seeing her as like a Yoko Ono type character, where it's like this is someone who's an artist who is actually like, seeing him for who he is and not like John Lennon's Cynthia, was kind of the Kristen Wiig character. But that's an archetype in rock though, with
the first wife.
It's not just Lennon, but to me, I was like, oh, that's I kind of saw what they were getting at there.
Okay, yeah, because Jenna Fisher's character is based on the
of course,
for sure.
Yeah, Johnny Cash's wife.
Right.
June. Yeah.
June. Yeah. What a great name.
We got married in a fever.
So, oh my God.
But to bridge both of them also is a joke because he gets double married.
You can't get double married.
The double married was great. I know, so and I'm sorry.
And it's got to be like it is for one of us.
It's not what it looks like.
And then he tries to turn it around on her about the whole thing about drinking the milk.
You drank that milk in the middle of the night.
So I guess you can drink all the milk, and
I'm just a liar. I'm a cheater.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. Oh man.
and then she's like, "Don't."
Dude, that is
thinking about a song right now.
That is such a relatable thing. Like not to that extreme, but like I don't know if you write songs at all or think in those terms, it's like titles are such a big thing, and when you get a little gem like that someone throws away, oh, sorry, I'm going to tune out everything else you're saying, but that was a cool little line right there.
But he right about that napkin.
Yeah, but he takes it so like, I mean, his marriage is falling apart, and he's just like, holy shit. That's a great title for a song. But then he does it every time, and it's like a smash hit.
And then and then everyone's commentating on what's happening to him. Like the Guilty as Charged song is so funny because that really is a montage in a movie that has, I guess I haven't counted, but I'm sure quite a few. And that seems to be one that a lot happens because he gets into uppers and downers, Dewey.
This is the next logical step for you.
That was early Dewey. This is middle Dewey.
This is middle Dewey.
And then he's yelling at his monkeys like, you just
there's a lot of good
bananas and touch yourself. Well, fuck you.
Oh god. There's so many good like breaking the fourth wall kind of moments, like not explicitly, but yeah, like, you know, this is a dark fucking period. Like every time he says that, it's just like, oh my god, like, yeah.
He also rips out the sinks every time.
Exactly.
Oh
they're
God,
ripping out the sinks and
never a line about it or anything, but just
and then at the end,
gag.
And then when his dad dies, he's like sawing the couch in half and like, you know,
day and night.
Yeah, all like for hours, just not making progress.
And then he goes to the drawers. He goes to the drawers in the kitchen and starts bending his foods. And then we get to see that whole in, like all just facial expressions. We understand what he's going through. Where he first starts off pissed, and then he's like,
and then he's like, I just have to do this.
Well, I guess I gotta finish it. I'm over it. But
this is just my life.
Made me think of Matt Barnes
good.
driving all the way down to beat Derek Fisher's ass.
Oh, right.
Man, you had mad for a long time.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
To bend all
30 hours, right?
Drove back 30 hours.
30 hours, right? Hell yeah.
Yeah. That's, oh my God. Okay, so guilty as charged. Then he goes to rehab.
Oh, rehab?
We get, Bernie's in this. We got like kind of still young, sexy Bernard from not Bernie, Bernard from Santa Claus.
Oh,
who?
The
Bernard
manager
as the
manager at this time.
You know Bernard from the Santa Claus?
I don't.
He's the main elf.
Okay.
He's an Oppenheimer too.
You know, it's
not a
been
big
a
Santa
long
Claus
time.
fan. Okay.
No.
He was a role in the Santa Claus, and then he's in this movie and goes on to do like other things like Oppenheimer. He's in recently, which is kind of crazy.
Incredible actor. Yeah.
But it's cool to see
in this one.
He was the manager, so he's like trying to get him off the trampoline at that one part.
Oh, right.
Okay. Harold Ramis is the producer who's talking to him about rehab.
Yeah. Rehab.
And seeing Phil Rosenthal just made me so happy. I'm such a big Somebody Feed Phil fan, and I mean,
and then
everybody loves Raymond. It's good too.
Yeah, pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Everybody loves Raymond rocks. But so in that scene, though, we get a line that I've used, I feel like, in my life so many times, which is, "I want more blankets and less blankets."
Oh my god!
At the same time.
Yep.
He needs more blankets.
He needs more blankets. Well, that's the funny part is who it's coming from, because it's coming from the nurse. So it's like we somehow have to just listen to what he needs. Like, and we are the experts, but like, no, this is what he needs.
What's great is it's just so truncated on these like just singular scenes. So he goes, he's like, I guess I'm going to rehab. And that is the only scene of him really like going through anything. Is just like, I'm hot. Oh, I'm cold. Oh, and then he's like, thinks he's out. And then he wakes up. This is so funny. Where he's like, ah. And then that scene's over. And then he goes to like, all these blankets have saved my life.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he has a sex scene with Jenna Fisher where you see his abs and everything, which is like a Naked Gun reference. Or like, I don't know. That's a Naked Gun.
Totally. Yeah. It is so Naked Gun. Yeah.
And they just start kicking the shit out of each other.
Oh my god! Throwing each other around.
I love you. This is one of those episodes where it devolves numerous times and just like, oh, you remember this, you remember that. It's so funny.
Yeah,
that part
that's kind of how it is. Yeah, there's so many like
the beauty of this
distinctly like memorable, moments. But
double M's.
Yeah, and we mentioned the band earlier. I gotta just say again, like the amount of times I've seen this movie, I think they have just grown so much in my esteem of how much this movie works. Because I think when you first see this, it's like, oh yeah, they're like band members in the back and everything, but not only playing the instruments and just portraying the humanity of what you should be feeling towards everything, of like they're not on board with this and they're all kind of dealing with what he's putting out too, and being the frustrated band members just gives the emotional core of it all, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And they're fucking hilarious too. Yeah. Brandon and I were talking off pod about the fuck ancient Egypt.
Oh my god,
cats, like that shit is like, it stands up to this day. And you never once paid for drugs. Not once.
I think Tim Meadows might have like the most quotable lines per things he said, because almost everything he says in this movie is
it is. He has a very high ratio of quotables. Yeah.
There's a lot of high stats going on in this movie. JPMs, laughs per J, per jokes.
LPJs. JPMs, LPJs.
He's bad and heavy. Yeah.
He made a tomato.
Yeah. And then Matt Besser has such an interesting way of delivering lines, and it's
very good
form of deadpan. And I don't think he ever smiles in the movie.
He has such a low voice too.
But he's also just kind of rolls over, like all of them just roll over to all his bullshit where he just takes his wife, like he's like, this is my wife, Dewey. Well, okay. Yeah, they don't know how to stand up to him until that scene where they finally, like, it all comes out, like decades of abuse pretty much. And then it's all about just, you never paid for drugs and you get us these stupid fucking cat statues or whatever. I want an army of didgeridoos. He does stand up to him one other time, which is funny. He's just like, you sound like some kind of punk. But that song is so funny, like tuned up to like a kind of fast-paced punk sort of version.
It's great.
It's such a good song.
Faster.
What drug is he on it? Because it's like him doing a drug with a Tim Meadows.
It was cocaine.
It was cocaine. Yeah,
it was cocaine.
Yeah,
turns all your bad feelings into good feelings.
Yeah. It's a nightmare.
Well, and I love that too, because he's just completely raging out on stage, and then he snaps back to reality. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry!" Like, because he when his bandmate is kind of like challenging him on it, he snaps back at him and is like, "Don't fucking tell me what to do." And then he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
He gets very bipolar. He turns into so apologetic and crying. And then Jenna Fisher walks in immediately after, so fast.
I love how it's just like things just kind of like happen to him, right? Like he's not he in the beginning he's so driven and I'm gonna follow my dreams, and he does, but it's like it's all happenstance that good and bad things happen to him. It's like he doesn't take any responsibility for. And I don't know. I think that's what, like, it makes his character like lovable, because obviously in real life we wouldn't like a person, but he's so naive, but like well-meaning, and you're just like you almost just like feel bad for him sometimes, but he can't help himself. Like
that Homer comparison is great. I love. Yeah, it's very Homer.
When he like promises Jenna Fisher, that Darlene, that he's like done with the drugs, and that he just PCP like while he's hugging her. She's like, "What'd you put in your mouth?"
Yeah, because that's, I mean,
PCP.
Him going to the Beatles. He's gone through rehab. He's all good. He's like going to the hippy dippy parties where something's happening here, and it ain't exactly
obvious.
Oh,
that was so good.
So good. Because there's a scene in The Doors where they do acid and go to a dinner party, and it's
this kind of reminiscent of that. And then, but for him to go get out of rehab, be successful, and then go to hang out with the Beatles, and then immediately get addicted to hallucinogens is such a funny turn of events. And that is so like, Sgt. Pepper's Pet Sounds. But
even though he's having
one of the funniest scenes.
He's having a bad trip on LSD. But then he comes to, he goes, "Maybe I do have some demons." And then Ringo goes, "Do you want some more LSD?" And he's like, "Yep." Like, why? You're having a bad time. Like, why do you need more?
It's the only time Tim Meadows doesn't give it to him. It's the Beatles, those Beatles.
Yeah.
And the line delivery by Jenna Fisher leading to that is like, there's just this effect on it because she's like, let's drop acid with the Beatles,
Yeah. Okay, if you promise one time, let's drop acid with the Beatles.
And you're like, yeah.
And then immediately cut to him, just like trampoline and like didgeridoos, and then the whole like, what did you just put in your mouth when she finally calls him out on it again, and then he loses his bandmates.
Oh, and then some gum. And then that interview with Jane Lynch, where he goes, he's talking beforehand about like what he's gonna say, and he's like, just tell him you don't do LSD anymore. It's like, well, I'm not going to commit to that. I don't do LSD right now.
Make sure you watch Dewey Cox's show, and I'm not mainlining PCP anymore.
Oh my God.
You do some fucking homework. I have no sense of smell.
I got no sense of smell.
I got no sense.
Ask about his family life, like
all of this hot.
How do you wake up and smell the roses every morning?
Well, I love what he said about his kids, about how are all your 48 kids, and he's like, well, I don't really know them at all. And then he starts saying like, yeah, I just don't think I should have custody. I should be able to choose that, Yeah, I'm locked in a custody battle. I'm trying to say I shouldn't have custody.
It's being forced upon me.
They're trying to force it on me. And then he goes, yeah, I'm sure they're out there somewhere watching the Dewey Cox show.
Yeah, he tries to plug the show to his 48 children or whatever.
Oh my God.
So ridiculous. That stretch is really funny because that's the excess stretch. That's like him trying to retain like relevancy, and he's trying to like, just do walk hard again. People love walk hard, or like old people love walk hard. And
it was great when they kind of like at the very end kind of like showed him that like, oh, your track is being sampled by a rap artist now.
What was like nutsack? What was the
little nutsack?
Little nutsack.
Cox and nutsack will be a little.
It'll be a package. Oh, that was really good. And was that guy? That was a guy from Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory, I think.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Yeah. It was his character was funny for sure.
And like the whole montage to get there is like after the Jonah Hill thing. He goes back to rehab and then has the Jonah Hill thing, which is a pretty funny, it seems very improvised sort of thing between them two. Goes to confront his dad, gets halved. And that whole rage thing is just hilarious of him getting mad with the sinks and cutting the sofa. And I already mentioned all that.
Yeah.
But the montage to get him to be old is him reconnecting with all of his children, because out of nowhere after that rage, little dewdrop comes in. I'd like nothing else than to have a catch with you.
And also, like, why did that mean so much to him? I don't know.
Because that's just such a stereotypical father-son.
Right.
Like this is how you connect with your children as a man.
And in order for him to play catch with everyone, it takes like 50 years or whatever.
It takes like 30 years. Yeah, whatever. And him realizing how long it's going to take to play catch with all these kids. He's like, oh, fuck.
He's like, oh boy.
All right.
He gets
some of the scenes too that we get like interstitched in this part of the movie after that is like walking with all these children in a field. And remember that scene where he's doing like the math,
their homework. Oh my God. Well, no, it's something about the context of a Shakespeare novel or play or something, and it seems tells him the answer to the question.
Write it down.
That's a freebie. That's a mulligan. Oh my God.
I missed that, and so many times of viewing that, caught it this time, and I lost it. It was so
that's what I mean. Like there's the obvious, scenes and lines and stuff, but pretty much everything that happens on screen is fucking funny in some way. It's amazing.
It really is. It's something to behold. Just
there's no fat.
No, every single person's funny. Every word spoken is funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're trying to make a comedy, that's the greatest.
And you're taking the shit out of something that should be serious and still showing your talents throughout it as well.
Right.
It's great how it ends. He gets his smell back. He smells that shit, baby.
Smell that shit, baby.
And this final fucking award show is nuts. How they get like the talent that they get in this scene is like having Jewel, Lyle Lovett, and Jackson Brown, and then fucking one of them. It says off screen. It's almost like it's supposed to be Lyle Lovett, but it was ADR. I don't know if it's actually him doing it, but they're doing their Walk Hard song, I think, and then all of a sudden. Goes and Ghostface Killer.
Yeah, kind of like Ghostface like shows up at one point.
But they like announce him like Wu-Tang too, which is so funny, except in a goofy Lyle Lovett voice. And then he comes out and starts rapping over, and then like Jules like hard.
It's like, amazing,
dude.
Yeah.
It was really well done. I mean. That whole, award acceptance thing. And then he's got the Viagra this time instead of, the other hard drugs or whatever. It's like, it gives you a boner.
Well, now, Corey, Viagra is still a hard drug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
And then in such an amazing line is that if you have an erection lasting more than 4 hours, call more ladies.
Call more ladies.
Such a good line. Tim Meadows, man, too many good lines.
Do you think he just read the script for that movie and was like, hey, this? I'm getting all the good ones.
I will learn drums for this.
Right.
And then then he says no and says. Then sees the young ladies walking by, and then it says no to them as well, and he's not going to succumb to the temptations.
That was always that was never lost on me. I always loved that part.
So good.
The temptation,
my girl,
talking about.
And that final song is a great fucking song. Eddie Vedder. Apparently the speech they edited it down from was like a 5-minute long speech or something, but the way that he delivers it is amazing.
It's like
amazing.
I would believe that he was giving it to fucking Neil Young at the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something is how he was describing it.
Let me pull up quote of, because he calls him a bunch of names, right?
Oh yeah,
that part,
the tall midget or the tallest midget or something.
the giant midget and there's so many different.
I'm looking.
You get the beautiful right. You get the final montage of summing up his. And I think there's like a lot of deleted scenes. I think they show here too. I think the Parnell getting blown away, and he's using him as a human shield is great. And there's it's just so good to know this movie is filled to the brim with stuff that they had to. You just interstitch other stuff in to fill it out because there's just so much good stuff.
Yeah,
the credit song is nice. Hey, daddy, or so whatever it says. I forget. Great songs.
I forget if I watched the whole thing through the credits, but
yeah, it's just a track, but it's a movie that made me want to see more like it, and unfortunately, I don't know. I feel like I remember seeing this movie, but then I remember after this seeing stuff like Love Guru and Zohan and stuff, and I was like, man, comedy was doing really well, but obviously there's still good comedy movies out there, but this one was something that was still on that heel of I feel like those really good Apatow movies, which still went on after this, of course, and the Will Ferrell stuff and Tropic Thunder and all that, all those good movies. But this one is tough to be a really good parody, and so far, and so much so that it's a great satire as well.
Okay, I got it, guys.
Oh, good.
Okay, if Elvis and Buddy Holly are the Chain and Abel or Cain and Abel of rock and roll, Bruce Springsteen is Zachariah, Iggy Pop is Methuselah, and of course, Neil Young is the wise prophet Ezekiel. Then what does that make Dewey Cox?
Right.
Shit, and then that's it. Wait.
Oh, they don't
I think we were talking. I think before that, he's introducing him with all of his nicknames or whatever. But I forgot about that. Like, the biblical hierarchy. That was fucking great.
I mean, he delivers it so well, and I think let's just maybe we'll watch it here. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we can get a little taste of that before we go on to some some reviews from critics and audiences.
James, we also have a voice memo by Danny.
Oh yes. Chat. Okay, we'll play that after this.
Gentleman, Eddie Vedder.
He's like, Malignant. Fuck yeah.
Oh, this is the extended. Oh, this might be the long version.
He's in Pearl Jam.
Oh wait,
Lead singer in Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam? He's a lead singer in Pearl Jam.
This is not in the movie.
Right.
Come a little closer, girl. I'll show you my scars. Because I'm guilty. Guilty as charged. I think we all remember where we were the first time we heard Dewey Cox sing those words. I was 13 years old, working at the corner store when Guilty as Charged came on the radio. It was a Where Are They Now block, but I knew right where I was. For the first time in my life, I knew just who I was. In that moment, though I was just a child, I understood what it meant to love and to lose love, to die and be reborn, to cry tears of joy and tears of blood. For those 2 minutes, I was a 13-year-old outlaw, a sinner in search of redemption, a man with the body of a child and the heart of a bloodthirsty killer. All at once, I understood rock and roll.
Wow.
We heard him sing about walking hard. We learned a little something about how we wanted to walk. Just like every other teenager, I wanted to walk as hard as Dewey Cox.
Yeah.
But of course, nobody will ever walk as hard as Dewey Cox. He's been called the drifter, also the shapeshifter, the master chef, the chameleon, the problem child, the hard one, the white Indian, the giant midget. And of course, many know him as the TV spokesman for his line of Dewey Cox breakfast sausages.
All right. I told him I had to put that in there.
But to an entire generation of musicians, he will always be simply Cox. What do we think about?
All right, yeah. It'll be
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That was amazing.
You guys want to, there's another 2 minutes on that bad boy if anyone wants to.
I'm definitely going to check that out.
It's on YouTube. For the sake of
he
anyone who doesn't want to hear it all, but it is very funny, and I'm very curious about it because now I feel like I'm just watching more of the movie, which I never thought existed.
Yeah, that's great. Our friend Danny kind of looks like Eddie Vedder a little.
I could see him, and in this, current look of Eddie Vedder giving the speech. Speaking of old Danny boy, let's hear a voice memo.
Here we go.
I'm going to count it off and play it if you guys want to play along, because it's just going to be playing out to the podcast. So Corey and Brand, if you want to hear it as well, I'm going to hit
on go.
Do it on go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Here's a little mess. Oh, sorry.
Do it on go.
Sorry, I fucked that up.
Don't do it on go.
I fucked that up. This is I was going to intro first. This is a message from Danny, and this was in response to Blood Fart. Old blood fart Brandini seeing if anyone want to leave a voicemail on the Discord. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
I am Zeus, god of lightning. My favorite part of that whole entire movie is probably when he pops that fucking PCP and he's trying to lie to his wife about it, and then suddenly it just got him on the top of, like, in his underwear running down the street on the top of that building throwing out fake thunderbolts. I love every part of it. Hope you guys are having a good podcast, guys. What's up? Say what's up to the polar bears. Love you guys. And you guys picked a good movie, and I hope you guys are having fun. Bye.
Wow, what a nice message. That was fun to get a voicemail in the pod.
Can you guys recap it? Because I could hear your said.
Ooh, you broke up there.
He said his favorite part was when he took the PCP and was running around the street with his underwear. And Danny said that he was throwing lightning bolts from the roof, but maybe that was in Dewey Cox's mind. But it seems like Danny somehow channeled that and saw them as well, or knows what it's like. Maybe when
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was Danny
mainlining Angel Dust?
That was fun.
That was fun. That was cool to sing a little snippet of Eddie Vedder. Let's hear some reviews from some critics out there who gave it a certified fresh 75%. You guys good to keep on rolling? You want to take a break or anything?
Could I take a quick little pee and beer break?
Yes.
Beer break. Let's do it. We'll be right back.
Okay.
We're back.
Are we back?
We are back.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
The dinosaur story.
Yeah.
We're back, everyone. Hello.
We've turned into dinosaurs.
PolarizedPod, the Dewey Cox story. We got the call out from Danny. So do your best polar bear impression. That's a duck, Corey.
That's a duck, Corey.
That's a duck.
That's a duck. That's a fart.
That's a duck farting.
Yikes.
We brought the duck into quack, and now the duck isn't even quacking anymore. It's farting.
What happened on this break, guys?
I thought we were just going to do all bathroom stuff on the break, and then we come back and we'd be okay. But
yeah, that's what you thought.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tim Meadows was in that bathroom. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. From Claudia Puig, USA Today, 3 out of 4. Cox rocks.
Yeah.
Claudia Puig gets it. Richard,
is that all? Is that the whole review?
On Rotten Tomatoes, these are the little. They have them all kind of tabulated little blurbs, and that's what we're reading today. Richard Schickel, Time Magazine. Call me a cynic. Call me a curmudgeon. Call me perverse. I loved every moment of Dewey Cox's story.
Okay, what was that again? So he's perverse.
This guy's really willing to put it all out there.
Richard Schickel, call me a cynic. Call me a curmudgeon. Call me perverse.
Call me a scumbag.
I loved every. Yeah, I love it when you.
He just wants us to talk dirty to him.
Yeah, you don't have to make us complicit in your fetish here, Richard.
Come on, Richard. Come on,
Richard. Dick. Come on, Dick.
From Jack Matthews, New York Daily News. 3 out of 4. There are few too many lazy jokes played off Dewey's last name, but not nearly enough to wipe that grin off your face.
Thousands of them, I think.
Thousands. Did not care for it, this guy.
Yeah. Oh, so thousands back on the table.
Back on the menu. Roger Ebert. We'll do this blurb, and then I'll get to something else he said is funny at the end of his review, but he gave it a 3 out of 4, and he says,
oh, you gotta say that.
Instead of sending everything over the top at high energy like Top Secret or Airplane, they allow Riley to more or less actually play the characters so that against all expectations, some scenes actually approach real sentiment.
Wow.
I think that's